All right. Otherwise, I think I want to start with this sutra because I've been thinking about this. I haven't actually visited it in a while. I think it's a sutra. I forget where it's from. It's very popular though. In Sanskrit, it's pronounced asatoma sakamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. It's a very famous little piece. I should find out where that's from. Anyways. But the basis of it, asatoma sakamaya. When I was in India, there's a ashram I was going to satsangs, and the person or the uh not the rishi, what was he? Swami had it over the door of the ashram, but in English. Asatoma sakamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. So the first part of that means lead me from the unreal to the real, from the dark to the light. That's the first section of that little sutra there. Uh, Lead me from the unreal to the real. So whoever wrote that was obviously writing it from the position of what they considered to be the unreal. Yeah? And they were looking to be led to the real. Now, in yoga, they were looking to be led to the real through probably one of the forms of yoga. So whether that be hatha, or that be like jnana yoga, or bhakti, which would be like devotion, yeah? They're looking to be led from one place essentially to another place, the unreal to the real. When they say unreal in yoga, uh, or a lot in Buddhist texts as well, unreal, reality is put on what would be independent. Yeah. So when they say lead me from the unreal to the real, they're obviously saying that from the position of unreal, yes, which would be the body. And the body is considered unreal in the way that it's not independent. Uh, it has no existence, I guess, or reality, we could say, of its own. It is integrated with everything else, the body. Yeah. And then the head is the same way. The head, the head is conditioned. So what it comes in contact with, it essentially gets conditioned by that. And then we go through life as that mental system. Yeah. But it's unreal in the way that it doesn't have its own independence. Now, there is a sense of individuality. Ramana Maharshi would call the sense of individuality. But that sense of individuality is a sense within the spaciousness of the absolute. Yeah. So the person who writes "lead me from the unreal to the real" is essentially saying, "Lead me from what I'm taking to be individual and independent to actual autonomy." Yeah, which in yoga would be existence, consciousness, bliss, Sat Chitananda. And bliss at the end of that is actually seen more, in my view, and from a bunch of people who write, as peace. Peace. Mhm. Um, so really, lead me from the unreal to the real is to lead me from what suffers into infinite peace, which would be in terms of yoga and Buddhism our true nature, yeah? Lead me from the unreal to the real and from the darkness to the light. So that sutra is quite important because it points to the aspect of unreality. So when we take the body and the mind to be me, that is the sense of individuality. Yes? That is arising, obviously, and you can experience that in your own experience. This sutra is saying that that is unreal in the way that Jay is not independent from the circumstances that Jay has gone through yet. The head of Jay is conditioned by what Jay has gone through. And this body is not independent of the world or the mind. It's not separate from, in the way, yeah? It's made from materials that everything else is made from. It's just taking a different form. Reality, in a way, which would be like open, we could say, open, spacious consciousness in a way. No form, no name, no form, takes name and form through energy. That name and form is then taken to be reality, but that would be the mistaken misidentification in yoga. We take this thing to be the absolute, as in J is the absolute. In addiction recovery, they say you have to stop playing God. And there's a Ramana Maharshi in Advaitic philosophy would say that there's something playing a false God in your life. Yeah, that would be the mental system. So in addiction recovery, the head is interpreting everything that's going on, and it's taking itself to be reality. Meaning, it thinks my head thinks that its interpretation is the ultimate absolute reality. Yeah. Now, there's inherently nothing wrong with that. That's how the head works. It's called self-centeredness. Everything that happens, the head takes it in and claims it as a reference to me. But the head is taking itself to be reality, meaning like the absolute independent. Yeah. And that's yoga's extremely important because it's saying, no, that's not the case. This is actually unreality. Reality sits before. Huh? So the sutra is saying, lead me from what is unreal, what I'm taking to be real, this body being a complete independent thing from everything else. Lead me from that to reality. Hmm. It's very like enlightening in a way that just hearing that alone, that there's a movement or a system out there which considers this to be unreal and reality to be for many people in recovery is like a huge relief because we were taking this to be reality. Yeah. And this is causing a lot of problems for people in recovery. This, the head specifically, the mental, yeah. Uh, so to be told or to understand that this is not actually the end, meaning like the reality or the point of sitting in absoluteness, is a great relief in many ways. Uh, and then it, the other thing it kind of highlights, because this body and mind are not independent, they're conditional and relational. That's why it's called the relative rather than the absolute. It's in relation. Yeah. For instance, this body is made of elements. When it dies, those elements will go from the form of a body into earth, and then that will go on. Yeah. This is like what Thich Nhat Hanh teaches about more than anything, really, I feel. Interbeingness. Yeah. Because separateness would be the core of suffering. That would be like where suffering starts. This body is not independent or separate, really, from anything. And then it's taken to be separate. Yeah. So that would be the sense of individuality. That sense of individuality is relative, but it is taking itself to be the absolute. And it comes with a bunch of baggage on the circumstances and conditions it's been through. And that can make life very uncomfortable for a lot of people, yeah? So this sutra is important because it points to no, that's not reality. Yeah. This body and mind is part of reality, but it is not the basis of reality. Yeah. In yoga, actually, the world is not even reality. Reality sits before. It's the space that all of this appears within. Mm. We get identified with the body, and because of that, we see individual aspects, lamp, pitcher, teacup, all these different things. Yeah. That comes from this sense of individuality. But the sense of individuality is not the end in a way. It's not the absolute ground of being. Yeah. Mm. So that's very important to know because all day our head is selling us all kinds of information and it's taking itself to be the absolute truth. And it's really just an interpretation based on conditioning from what's happened to that body in life. So it's very important to see that this is part of the unreal in a way. Yeah. This is like the body is an appearance within reality. And it is interbeing, as another Thich Nhat Hanh saying, with everything else that's going on. Yeah. That's why a war, which seems to be way over there, seems to be affecting us. Yeah. Whether that be in gross economic manner or weird, like seemingly subtle emotional and things, yeah. Because this body cannot be separate from this world. It can be separate in space, obviously. This body's here, the computer's here, that kind of thing, yeah? But when it comes to absolute reality, this is all one thing. It's like there's a famous text, a Dwightic text called Alam Andre, which means all is one. Yeah, it's very short. Actually, I can send it to you if you want. You just send me an email. But it points to the same thing, yeah? All of this Advaitic philosophy, this is the stuff that's really landed best for me. It just points to that one. Yeah. It's pointing us back to the real. Yeah. And as Ramana Maharshi would say, the best way, or all you need to do to sit back into reality, because that's what you are, is to see the unreal. Yeah. And it doesn't go anywhere. This world happens and things. But that identification as this being reality only, that gets readjusted, thankfully, because then we can stop trying to have the body do stuff which it can't do, like be completely independent from everything else. Or Mhm. These understandings disentangle you in many ways from what goes on with the body and the mind, because it's just a deeper understanding. There's more depth to it in that way. Anyways, I wanted to visit that because it kind of hits the nail right on the head. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Yeah. That's obviously written from the standpoint of feeling that they're in the unreal. In AA, a lot of people come in and they just feel so bad that they don't understand. It's like, how can this situation feel so terrible? You know? So it's important because that's unreal. That's why it can feel so terrible. Because it's not inherently independent. It's entangled with stuff you've been through and stuff you said, hey, hon. And it that would be very important information to know, yeah.